Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of The Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. I want to let everybody know as we get started, I am having a little bit of issues with my broadcast software. Honestly, I'm having a little bit of issues with my computer. So, if the audio freezes up a little bit, it may not be you, it may be me. If the video locks, it may be on my end. I'm going to be been working on this for quite a bit of time today. I'm going to be working on it into tonight. And honestly, real soon, it's going to be your time to replace the computer, which is a lot more work in and of itself. A lot of things to talk about today. Well, I've got 4 stories to talk about today. But to get started with, if you're watching on the Polite Society Podcast, Facebook, or YouTube page, you can comment on those videos, and we'll get those comments right away. I'll get them up here as soon as I get everything connected. There we go. I'll get those comments right away. We'll get them up. We'll get your comments on the video, and we'll talk about them on the air. If you're catching us anywhere other than the Polite Society podcast feeds on YouTube and Facebook, and I do broadcast to more places, go ahead and comment there. I sometimes get those. I sometimes do not. If I do get them, I'll get them on the air. We'll discuss them. If not, and you want me to comment on them, slide on over to the Polite Society podcast feeds. I know I get those. So let's go ahead and get started. First story I got is off HeraldTribune.com. This is from a Florida newspaper. This is Jim Dela is the name of the writer. The next time you're in a crowd, look around and consider this. According to data from the state of Florida, nearly 100,000 people in Sarasota, Manatee, and DeSoto counties, roughly 1 in 10, could be legally carrying a concealed gun. But that number could go higher under a new law that went into effect July 1st, though experts say they expect little outward change to daily life. The new law, which took effect along with dozens of others approved in the 2023 legislative sessions, eliminates a requirement for concealed carry permits along with the training requirements and background check that go with it. This sounds like they're starting a bent towards a negative article, and in a way they are. However, I'm going to go a little bit deeper and read a little bit more of this story. Some experts say they don't expect the new law to make life more dangerous or significantly increase crime because plenty of people are already permitted or carrying weapons without a permit. I think things will be fine here, said Stephen Moyer, security consultant and former deputy chief of the Sarasota Police Department. I've talked to a lot of sheriffs across the state. I've testified up in Tallahassee a couple times. I don't think we're going to see a big uptick. It's going to be pretty seamless. Nicholas Chotos, a defense attorney who practices in Manatee County, agreed. Most people who want a concealed carry permit already have them, he said. People who want to carry a gun without a permit are already doing it. We're not going to see an uptick in crimes. Gun control advocates, however, aren't so sure. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see it go up, said Carol Coyne-Resigno, the president of Brady, Sarasota, the local branch of Brady United, which advocates for total disarmament of all citizens of the United States. That's where I leave the story. The rest of the story does take a little bit of an anti-gun bent. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go over to Facebook and YouTube chat. And unusually, I don't see any comments from anybody yet. So I'm wondering what's going on. But I do have the comment both on Facebook and on YouTube popping out. And there it is. So I know my comments at least are getting through. But what gets me is this guy, this writer, Jim Dela, or D-E capital L-A is the last name, seems to have gotten in touch with experts, and I do mean, decent experts here, and they said nothing's going to happen. And we all knew nothing was going to happen. And he reported exactly that. Nothing is going to happen. This is so far apart from the blood running in the streets, dogs and cats living together, that the normal legacy media puts out every time constitutional carry is considered or goes into effect. This is a very big leap from that, and let's put this paper is part of the Gannett newspaper chain, and Gannett is decidedly anti-rights of all kinds. So yeah, I'm glad to see a little bit of a return to normalcy from at least one small tiny part of the legacy media. Next story I've got up here, this is off militarytimes.com. Bill to protect veterans' gun rights prompts heated debate in House. Republican lawmakers on Tuesday accused Veterans Affairs leaders of depriving some veterans of their right to own firearms and promised changes in coming weeks, but Democratic critics say those proposed moves could end up leading to more suicides and self-harm among vulnerable veterans. At issue is legislation proposed by House Veterans Affairs Committee Chairman Mike Bost out of Illinois, dubbed the Veterans Second Amendment Protection Act. The measure would block VA officials from sharing some information with the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, a federal database used to determine whether an individual can buy firearms. Bost said about 8,000 veterans were reported to the system last year, most for financial incompetence and reasons not criminal acts or specific mental health problems. But the VA action would bar all of those veterans from purchasing weapons regardless of the underlying issues. The VA would not be able to take away a veteran's Second Amendment rights because they need help managing their benefits, Bost said at a hearing on the issue Tuesday. Veterans should not be treated any differently than any other American citizen. Even criminals have to be convicted of a crime in a court of law before their names are reported to the system. Well, Mr. Bost, you're almost right. Criminals do, if they are convicted of a crime, they do get their names reported to the system. But also, anyone who has a civil restraining order gets their name reported to the system. So, while I agree with him on this, I agree with him that you should not have to give up your right to keep and bear arms if you are a military veteran and you need help navigating this morass of what the government has put together for a veterans benefit system. Or if you're having a little bit of a hardship while you're at home and you need some help with your finances, or possibly you get out of the military and you decide, look, I want to get an RV and I want to go see these United States I have spent my military career defending, and I want somebody back home to take care of things for me, and you sign over legal my brain just stopped. You sign over the legal right for somebody else to take care of your affairs for financial terms. If that happens, the VA automatically reports you to NICS. This is another case of it's another case of, look, doesn't matter who we take it from, any guns we get off the street, any guns are good deals when we get them off the street. So yeah, let me see here. I'm trying to find out, because I really should be getting, there we go. Power of attorney. Thank you, Big John 410. Let me get that up here. Yeah, thank you, Big John. I was part of me was starting to stumble because I wasn't getting comments, and part of me was starting to stumble because my brain locked up. It was kind of the perfect storm there for a little bit. Next story, and I debated whether to put this one up or not. And I decided to go ahead and report this story anyway. Anybody who's watched me for a long period of time knows I have a huge problem. If you thought I had a problem with the NRA, that's nothing compared to the problem I have with the National Association for Gun Rights. Dudley Brown, the leader of the National Association for Gun Rights, is a horrible problem for the Second Amendment community. They are aggressive as all get out in their marketing and their sky is falling begging for money, and they're fundraising. They're very good at fundraising. They get a lot of money, and a lot of that money goes right into Dudley Brown's private jet, his Cadillacs, his Rolls Royce. Dudley Brown is absolutely rich, filthy rich, in his leadership of the National Association of Gun Rights. But let me get to this. The story, this is off MSN.com, another news source I don't often quote, but it's out there. National Association for Gun Rights is warning firearm owners in Massachusetts to avoid travel to the state and consider moving away due to a new gun control bill that is currently being considered in the state legislature. The 140-page omnibus bill, known as House Docket 4420, includes sweeping changes to Massachusetts gun laws. It mandates registration of all firearms, feeding devices, and bans individuals under 21 from purchasing or carrying semi-automatic shotguns or rifles, restricts carry on private property, and introduces several other propositions. I want to go back. I've been doing the Polite Society podcast for over 10 years now. And I want to go back probably 7 or 8 years ago. I had just started doing live shows from a little Army Navy surplus store here in Sioux Falls that was doing promotion on the show and was helping me out that way. And I remember during this live show, we were talking about New Jersey at the time. And the topic came up of why don't gun owners leave New Jersey? And a lot of gun owners did and do leave New Jersey. And I got a comment from a guy, and this comment really stuck to me, and I remember it clearly to this day. I do not remember the name of the person that commented. This is back when we were broadcasting live on Google Plus, which is no longer around. But the guy said, "Look, I'm a veteran. I was a part of the 101st Airborne. I'm not used to backing down. I do not retreat. I'm not going to in my home state." That stuck with me, and I love that fighting spirit. I know I know personally a few people in Massachusetts that own firearms. And I got to say, I hope that attitude sticks around. I don't retreat. This is my home. I fought for my home. I'm going to fight for my home. And that's enemies foreign and domestic. And domestic enemies that want to, and domestic lawmakers that want to take away my rights are people I'm fighting against. I love that attitude. And I would say National Association for Gun Rights, maybe you should, instead of trying to get money from the people of Massachusetts and encourage them to leave Massachusetts, maybe you should start fighting for them. Just one less Cadillac this year, Dudley Brown. That's all I'm asking. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to our final story here. And gun rights group slams Delaware State Fair ban on firearms, blatant insult. And this is off FoxNews.com. A Delaware-based Second Amendment group lashed out at organizers of the Delaware State Fair over rules prohibiting lawful gun owners from carrying their weapons on the fairgrounds. The Delaware State Fair is officially now anti-gun, an email blast recently sent to the members of the Delaware State Sportsmen Association proclaims. The notice sounds off against a policy that prohibits patrons, vendors, exhibitors, volunteers, and employees from carrying firearms at the fair July 20th through 29th, 2023. The Delaware State Fair website states that weapons of any kind or objects that appear to be weapons are prohibited and may not be brought onto the fairground. The restriction applies to all fairgoers regardless of whether you are licensed to carry or not, and includes all forms of concealed or open carry firearms, rifles, shotguns, black powder weapons, and an assortment of knives, stun guns, bludgeoning weapons, and other dangerous or deadly instruments or weapons. Those discovered with a prohibited firearm will be forced to return to their vehicle or turn over the item to security before entry. Items turned over to security will be considered confiscated and will not be returned according to the policy. Metal detectors have been installed at the gates across the fairground to assist with security gating. Let me reread that. Metal detectors have been installed at the 4 gates across the fairground to assist with security screening. Organizer of the State Fair, which kicks off in just 2 days, said the rules prohibiting firearms were adopted for the safety of the guests. More than 300,000 attend the fairgrounds in Harrington, Delaware each year. As we recognize large venues, large events, we've upgraded several areas in regards to public safety. I'm going to go ahead and skip down here. And the fair is asking guests with concealed carry licenses, including retired police officers with a 218 permit and out-of-state law enforcement officers, to leave their weapons at home. So, let me get this straight, Delaware. Not even active duty police who are off duty or active duty police who happen to be out of state and visiting your fantastic fair are safe to carry firearms. Not even people who have gone through background checks and have a Delaware state concealed carry permit, who, by the way, are more statistically more law-abiding than even the police are. There is no single group more law-abiding than concealed carry permit holders. Not even the card-carrying good guys are good enough. What about the people that bypass your gates? State fairs are huge. Let me see if I have, and I believe I do. Yes. I'm going to go ahead and put up a I'm going to put up a picture of the web from the website. That's my browser right there, and I'm going to go ahead and blow this up. See if I can. There's 4 gates, and there's a lot of area there. Do you think people may be able to sneak around the gates? I will guarantee you people are getting in without paying. I've never seen a fair where that wasn't a problem. Not that I've seen, an inordinately large number of fairs in my life, but I know with South Dakota State Fair and the Sioux Empire Fair, which is right in my hometown, people get around the gates all the time. And now you're creating this huge disarmament zone where people aren't going to be able to defend themselves. Do you think you might be attracting the wrong person by making this a disarmed zone? And yeah, the people who don't care about your rules, don't care about your laws, are going to be attracted to this like none other. And Big John 410, great comment here. So what were the problems from prior years that caused this new policy? I looked through the rest of the story. I don't see where it says anywhere in the story further down why the change in policy happened. So I can't tell you what caused that. So, but that's the stories I have to cover today. We're not quite going to make the 30 minutes that I had anticipated. I usually pick out 3, 4, 5 stories, and I'm long-winded enough that I can usually get close to the 30 minutes, if not a little over. We went through them a bit quick today, so yeah, I agree with you, Spartan 6. Let me get this one up there here quick. Spartan 6 says, Big John, I think it's called stupid hoplophobia. Well, yeah, guns bad. All guns bad. Even guns in the hands of sworn police officers. Even guns in the hands of card-carrying good guys are bad. There's going, and mark my words, there's going to be a tragedy at one of these events where they make such a big deal and make a big public deal of making it a gun-free zone. It will happen. And look, you cannot legislate safety. People are responsible for their own safety. So, I think that's going to do it for today. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you for commenting, everybody. Podcast listeners, thank you for listening. I'd still be doing this the way I'm doing it, even if I didn't have a single person watching or commenting. I think I'd still be doing it this way. Podcast listeners, do please consider joining me live 7 p.m. Central Time, Tuesday through Saturday. I do it live. You can get your comments in, or you can just comment and tell me I'm an idiot. I've had that happen. I don't often put it on the air, but it happens. So, oh, come on. Let me get this in from 500 Magnum. We may make 30 minutes, because I'm going to go off on this. They're pushing more gun control with the Undetectable Firearms Act and Reid Amendment. I call my senators and congressmen, say, hell no. I hope you all have done the same. Yeah. Undetectable Firearms Act. Somebody has been watching way too many of the... I'm trying to... I'm trying to remember the name of the... And this is entirely embarrassing because it's just not coming to the front of my head. Movie where Die Hard, exactly, Die Hard 2 with the Glock Model 7 that is ceramic and not detectable. Somebody's been watching too many of those movies. For a metal detector, and I personally can attest to this. One round of 40 caliber ammunition will set off a metal detector. I've done it at the Firearms Academy, Seattle. We had a live fire training. Bell McCormick, not live fire. I'm sorry. We had a. I'm talking too quick. My brain is not catching up. We had an active shooter interdiction class, and we had a force on force course where you used simunitions, and you had to go through. You totally disarmed everything that you carry had to be left behind. I ran to my car to do a few things, and when I went to go check in at this and get ready to do this force on force course, Bell McCormick had a inexpensive, meaning not very effective, metal wand. I think they got the thing at Home Depot, the metal detector wand, and one round of 40 caliber ammunition set it off. There is no such thing as an undetectable firearm. It's all Hollywood hoopla that lawmakers have grabbed onto. We must ban the Glock Model 7 and everything like it, when there never was a truly ceramic firearm. There never was a Glock Model 7. So, yeah, and yeah, thank you, C&T Designs and Arms. He reminded me while I was trying to come up with it that the movie was Die Hard, and Spartan 6 says, even in the Dark Knight, they tried that crap. A witness gets one on the witness stand. Stupid people who know nothing. Yeah. All right, well, guess what? We're a lot closer to 30 minutes. I still want to get the show in under 30. Thank you again, everybody. And thank you to C&T Designs and Arms, 500 Magnum, and Spartan 6 for saving the end of the show for me, because you allowed me to go off on that tangent. Thanks again, everybody. That's going to do it for me today. Come join me tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central Time. We'll do it again.